Alright, welcome everybody to the World of Dragons podcast, the podcast where 2.5 dragons get together to discover, review, and discuss dragon-centric media and literature, books, movies, and TV shows to help you discover the next piece of dragon-centric...
You got this.
Storylines, plot, I don't know. Adventures. There you go. Dragon-centric adventures to go on. Yay!
Yay!
It sounded like he was unwinding at the end, like...
I don't know. It's been a hot minute since I've had to do an opening. Anyway, I'm your host Jay, and with me as always is Bantam.
What up, peeps?
And for the last time ever, Dilitan.
Hi, yeah, I got sad news.
Yeah, Dilitan will be taking a leave of absence after this episode, for an indeterminate amount of time.
Because
I might come back. I might not.
I need to upgrade my armor, so Dilitan has to die.
Yeah. Wait, what?
It's making a Monster Hunter joke, I think.
Yeah.
Too bad. You got to kill me 60 more times to get what you want.
God damn it!
I got the rarest drop rate. Fuck you.
But yeah, he has some real life responsibilities he's got to take care of, and he's always welcome back whenever he can, but we don't know when that's going to be. So goodbye,
Dilitan.
It's very sad.
You're
Goodbye.
fired.
Do I at least still get my pension?
No.
Damn.
Okay, you can have your pension.
Yay!
So yeah, he's joining us for this last episode, so we can just send him off. Like right now, we've put off the recording by like 2 weeks because he was sick. Just because I didn't want him to just like vanish into the ether. I wanted him to be with us one last time for like a hey, goodbye, so long.
Yeah, I had the flu for a very long time, which then gave me the worst cough ever, which these two have heard on microphone, and I've probably destroyed their eardrums because of it. And now they're joining us today, also sick, because there's a goddamn plague going around.
Plague? I don't know if I'd call what I have sick. I don't know.
Your symptom sounds like you got your sinuses are pulling some shenanigans.
But yeah. So this is actually the 50th episode, which is kind of funny how Dilitan made it to number 50.
Yay!
The asterisk is because it's the 50th if I'm only counting like unique things that we've covered.
Mainline episodes, not things like our...
Not like the couple of times we did a solo episode or we did an interview or anything like that. There's a couple of times where we did like part 1 and part 2, like Golden Treasures, part 1, part 2. Those only count as 1 for the sake of counting, just because of how I number these episodes when I upload them. But yeah, so made it to 50. And for number 50, we're doing Eragon. Yeah.
Eragon.
Eragon.
I mean, there are people who pronounce it that way. I've heard.
Well, those people are
way.
wrong.
Well,
Yep.
A lot of those people never watched the movie, and therefore didn't have,
See, when the book first came out, back in the day, before movies and audiobooks, you had to figure out how it was pronounced on your own.
Yeah.
This is a dark time for us Southerners.
Dark time for Dilitans everywhere.
But related to Dragon news that we're gonna let Dilitan give us, but like for example, Ray and I play Monster Hunter, and we're actually playing Monster Hunter again right now. But for a really, really long time, the monster Tigrex, which I will never, ever, ever call anything other than Tigrex, the developers themselves came on an interview and said it's pronounced Tigrex, and the entire community was like, no.
It's kind of funny that everyone just collectively was like, yeah, you don't even know, sorry.
Yeah, well, because characters in game didn't used to speak any actual language. It was literally a made up gibberish. Whoa! Yeah, or they would it was a made up gibberish. And then when we started getting actual voice actors for Monster Hunter games, and they would pronounce it Tigrex, and it's like, no.
But yeah.
Sorry, but me and Soren are only going to call it Tigrex.
I'll flip back and forth. Next episode, the first episode without Dilitan, we will probably do Primal.
Is that you talking about that show with the caveman and the dinosaur?
Yes.
All
Is
right,
that
cool.
called Primal?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's called Primal.
Yeah. We'll do Primal as soon as Dilitan's gone forever.
That's it,
and then we'll review Ratchet and Clank, Red Faction, Command and Conquer.
A bunch of video games.
Yeah, we're just gonna, Star Wars.
Oh, we'll do Star Wars.
Yeah, we'll do Star Wars.
Oh, that's
and
the
Star
worst.
Trek.
That's the worst. Y'all won't even be able to do Star Trek right. Don't even try that.
Star Trek.
I'll be yelling from the sidelines, just screaming.
We'll just cameo him in the back of the faint, like, you motherfuckers.
So, Dragon News. Dilitan.
As soon as I can breathe.
Yeah.
So we got...
It's first dragon. Okay. I thought you were going to take longer. Go.
No, we got two interesting bits of Dragon News. One, well, it all has to tie into the Game Awards, naturally. Well, we got a new Monster Hunter coming out, which, I mean, we can all pretty much agree that it's like 100% nothing but dragons in there. So, hell yeah.
They're all
I know,
technically wyverns, so yeah.
So I know you two are incredibly excited about the new Monster Hunter coming out.
They're not all technically wyverns. There are some actual dragons in Monster Hunter.
Well, I just mean like the game themselves calls them all wyverns, is what I mean. I don't mean like they don't have arms, therefore they're technically wyverns. I don't mean that. I mean the fact that the game calls them all wyverns.
Not the elders. They call them elder dragons.
Yeah, because the powerful and smart ones are obviously dragons above wyverns.
You're lucky I'm not a wyvern anymore.
I got a couple of friends that like wyverns, so I like to poke fun at them.
I like wyverns. Anyway, continue, Dilitan. Sorry.
Aside from a new Monster Hunter coming out, which I'm sure those guys are going to now want to do an episode on Monster Hunter, Sean Murray, the creator of No Man's Sky and lead developer of Hello Games, announced a new project, which I'm going to have my eyes very close on and might be relevant to the podcast itself. What the fuck was it called?
It was called Light No Fire.
Light No Fire.
You fool.
Listen.
You fool. I am now going to take my place as number one on the number one gamer pedestal. Nope, I'm already up here. The medal is already
The games are great, but the titles are not really memorable. I mean, think about it. No Man's Sky. What is that?
This gold medal is heavy. Woof.
Anyway.
No Man's Sky is because it's playing No Man's Land because nobody owns the sky. The whole game takes place in space, which is ostensibly the sky.
It's not the sky is what surrounds the planet. That's called the atmosphere. You're flying around in space. Anyway, not getting on that tangent. Light No Fire is something I'm going to keep my eyes very close on. What I've saw from the trailer, this is going to be basically a fantasy recreation of No Man's Sky on a single planet, a massive fantasy world. And if I'm correct, there's still going to be the spaceship mechanic, but that has been replaced with actual dragons. There's still no word on the story yet, but my working theory...
Build your own dragon.
From the interview bits that I've seen on various websites, it's going to be a 1-to-1 scale Earth, and in the scale of your character running and walking and flying around on the back of a dragon is going to be an exact relative to the 1-to-1 Earth, which means that I believe it's going to be multiplayer in that, I mean, this is speculation, but it could be multiplayer in which thousands of people are playing, but they're like in a random spot on the planet, and you can eventually
meet whoever your IP address tells you are.
Yeah, but but the concept being that you can, it's like Minecraft but with better graphics.
It's actually technically bigger than Minecraft.
Yeah, well, no, Minecraft. Yeah. No, I every time I watch those like Metal Ball Studios or whatever, where he compares map sizes of game worlds, Minecraft is bigger.
Knowing Sean Murray, they're going to go bigger than Minecraft.
It's alright, just keep it simple. Don't promise everything.
Oh, he already...
I'm making Earth!
Yeah, no, he already broke that promise.
And the best part is
Sean
Murray is reacting to those memes on Twitter.
Yeah, but what I'm curious about is how the dragons themselves are going to be playing into the story. How the ship in No Man's Sky was like your... Well, to be fair, No Man's Sky didn't really have much of a story, but it did help guide you in ways to the plot itself, so I'm wondering how the dragons themselves are going to tie into this. Definitely worth keeping your eyes on.
Hopefully the dragons can talk, but we'll see. If they're just regulated to being vehicles, I'm going to riot.
I don't know if they're going to... Well, there's a very high chance that might happen. Or it could be like what Eragon did, which is what we're reviewing today.
Hooray! Segway.
Nice segue.
Yeah. Alright, so for this review, we kind of did a really weird approach to it. I read the book first, and then watched the movie, just like in the old country. I had Bantam and Dilitan watch the movie first, and then I had Bantam read the book afterwards. Dilitan has not touched the book. So it's like we're approaching this as if Dilitan is the fan that only ever saw the movie and thinks he knows what he's talking about. I'm the fan that read the book first and then saw the movie and gets very disappointed. and Bantam's the fan that sees the movie, which intrigues him in the book, and then goes through the book afterwards.
I also played the game that was based on the movie.
I was going to say.
Oh, you actually played the game?
Well, I tried to. The emulator would not work, and this game is so obscure and so shitty that nobody knows the correct settings for the emulator to get it to work. I did see a Let's Play on YouTube, and holy shit. It's bad.
It's bad?
It makes you hate the series.
It's pretty fucking bad, because I also watched a Let's Play, just in case, and oof.
We're not going to have a very long spoiler-free part, because this being... 20 years old? I don't know. It's old, okay? So it's lost its no spoiler needed tag, whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess just for the few people who haven't, you young whippersnappers who were born after the book was written. Just that thought. It's old, it's dated, it is a product of its time. However, it is still recognized as one of the founding pillars of dragons in media. It's kind of right up there with Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of Pern. We can all agree it's bad now, but back in the day it was what we had, and we liked it.
Wait, you agree the book's bad?
I have some issues with the books, a lot of it with how it was written. Not to throw any shade at him, but he started writing it, Christopher Paolini, the author, started writing it when he was 15, and it was finally published when he was 18. And the thing is, you can kind of tell that, this definitely was written by a high school kid.
Yeah, it was written in 2001, and it was self-published at that point, and then came back out in 2003. So it is officially 20 years old.
Mm-hmm. It just basically has a lot of tropes to it, and you can kind of see them coming, and yep, there we go. It's like Dilitan. I'm going to blow your mind with this right here, right? And we're going to go into more detail after the break, but it's basically just Star Wars, A New Hope.
You're gonna have to try really hard. You realize what you just set yourself up for, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to try really hard to prove your point, my dude.
It's a small boy that lives with his uncle, farming.
Uh-huh.
And then gets pulled into a rebellion.
Uh-huh.
His uncle dies.
Uh-huh.
They go save a princess.
Uh-huh.
He learns a magical power that very few people can use. Come on, it's fucking Star Wars.
So when Ray pointed it out to me, and we were watching the movie together, it is literally Star Wars.
Almost beat for beat. It's
almost
Star Wars
beat for beat. Yes. The training montage where he was teaching him magic and telling him to float stones, and it's like, all right.
That happens in The Empire Strikes Back. Sit your ass down. But yeah, no, it is actually the original trilogy. Minus, Death Star. My God, that's sad.
But yeah, having read the book, it is a lot of Star Wars with some Lord of the Rings mixed in, and a couple of other things from other big major stories at the time. It ties into the whole, I was written by a high school kid. It's not terrible. I mean, it sold and became bestseller and got a movie for a reason. He still did it in a way that was enjoyable. I'd rather read Star Wars with dragons than Star Wars with spaceships any days, right?
The fuck?
But it's just, when you read it, you can kind of see a lot of it coming. We're yeah, and now we're going to, yep, okay, there we go. But yeah, since we're not going to dive too much into it, we're going to go straight into spoiler stuff, just real fast. Bantam and Dilitan. No, so, it being a product of its time, would you still recommend it to people coming into the hobby, new and fresh? We have much better dragon stuff nowadays, but do you recommend they still go back and read one of the early founding pillars?
The hobby of dragon reading?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the podcast is meant for people who love dragons and want to find more dragons in books, TV shows, and whatnot.
Dilitan, you're gonna blow our cover. You're in my cover. I would not suggest it, because there's better books that are older than this. That it's if you want to start from the beginning, you go with the Dragonlance books. Those were way better written. Absolutely no shade to Paolini, but a book written by a 15-year-old, maybe he could have if he waited until he was 18. It's have someone go back over the book. have a much older, much more experienced writer give it a pass. You know.
The thing is, if I had published the stuff that I was writing in high school, and I looked back at it now, I'd be like, oh God, no. It's just something about, like, I guess my interests or my style or whatever. It's like the very, very, very first thing I tried writing, which would have been around like the age of 15, was, I don't even know how to go into it, but it was pretty bad, like conceptually.
Oh yeah, I wrote a 150-page story when I was 13, and looking back on it now, I am glad it got destroyed. So glad. I'm not even going to go into detail what's in that travesty.
Yeah, I don't want to go into detail either.
What?
Nothing. I was just thinking back at our early writings.
Oh, yeah, when I was in like 7th to 8th grade, I wrote a 160-page story. Well, like I had like 2 other friends. One was like really into dragon stuff. The other one was really into weed. And we had like competitions to even find like the most pictures or write the longest stories. Like I went full Ray when I was in 8th grade, and I wrote, and it was terrible. And I lost it when my computer finally died. And looking back on it now, I am glad it is never going to see the light of day.
Yeah, I mean, I've told the story multiple times. I don't know if I told what the story was about, but it was essentially, as a little kid, I was obsessed with Armored Core for PS1, and I really liked Mega Man, and that was basically my book, was Armored Core meets Mega Man as the main character. He went around killing giant robots and then ripping parts off of them and sticking them onto his own cybernetic parts, and just
that's just Metabots.
Yeah, it was one-man wrecking crew, and the final boss slash bad guy was essentially Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
Excellent.
Well, he was a frail old man who couldn't hold a candle to anything, but he was in charge of this major corporation that could send unlimited waves of bad guys after you. I thought my book was pretty good, but I'll never know because I don't have a physical copy.
I can't say that because every time I write something, I always think it's trash. Most of the time, you think what you write is good until someone else reads it. Then the reality sets in.
All right, so Bantam says, no, newcomers to the hobby should skip Eragon. Dilitan, what about you?
I also said, fuck no.
Well, you didn't read the book, I guess. So
I watched the movie, and you know what? If the movie is any indication on what the book's going to be like, and if the game's any indication, then holy shit.
Yeah, hopefully, because Disney's going to remake the movie, so hopefully they do it justice.
Have you seen Disney's track record lately?
I mean, but you can't get worse than the original movie.
Have you seen Disney's track record lately?
Look, Disney has some problems, but I think people are just quick to hate on Disney. People are like, oh, Wish was so terrible. Oh, Leo was so much better than Wish. I'm like, no, not really, you guys. You're just so eager to hate on Disney.
Ray and I did go watch Wish, and we both really liked it. And we just yesterday watched Leo, and we both really liked it. They're both good movies, but they're different types of movies. One is not better than the other. They're both really good in what they do.
I've seen neither, so I cannot comment.
The only thing, I don't really have any, there was nothing in Wish that I was, aggressively against. But in Leo, holy fuck, Adam Sandler's voice was terrible in that whole movie. The voice he did for Leo was trash. Everything else was great, though.
He's trying to play an old man when he just sort of played himself, because he's an old man.
No, he tried to do an older man voice, and it sounded so cringy and forced, and it was really difficult to listen to. So Venter in our Discord says it was better than Whitey's voice in 8 Crazy Nights. Adam Sandler has never been a good voice actor, except one exception to me, and that was fucking Dracula from Hotel Transylvania. He doesn't need to do voice acting. He's a funnier actor. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I would actually recommend you do read Eragon. Because Eragon itself, even though I say it's tropey, even though I say it's got some problems with its writing, it's still, a really decent, story. And the world itself is pretty fun. And especially if you're, new to fantasy, it definitely feels like baby's first fantasy as far as, how simple it is to get into and how, I guess, how tropey, just the tropes really help it in that sense. But the sequels, not so much. Eragon's kind of good as a standalone. The sequels is when stuff starts getting really weird. And I've I've listened to other opinions on some of the sequels, and they've like enjoyed parts of it. I respectfully disagree. I think some of the decisions that he made in book 4 are really dumb, but we'll get into that later. Maybe one day I'll read book 5 because he actually just finished writing and put out a 5th book. So he's reviving the old Dead series 20 years later, or I guess 15 years later with a 5th book. So we'll see. Maybe he's like grown, matured, and gotten better at writing, and we'll find out. Anyway, so I'm going to put the small little break here, and we're just going to get straight into spoiler stuff. So, welcome back, listeners. Quick little musical number. Now we're going to get into the actual specifics of the book. I want to make my case that it's just Star Wars, and so on. So forth. First off, I guess the elephant in the room, the dragon in the room. What do you guys think of Saphira? As a character, as a dragon, as whatever?
Basic as fuck.
Considering the time they came out, I think it's an improvement over what Anna Caffrey did with her dragons, but she definitely did feel very backline, sideline. My biggest problem with her was whenever there was like a decision to be made in the book, she's always like, whatever you choose, Eragon, I will be with you. It's like always just like, whatever you want, kid, whatever you want, you make the decisions, you're in charge, the story's about you. But like aside from that, aside from the refusal to let her make a decision, she actually had a decent personality. Like, she felt real. She wasn't just a vehicle or a fantasy horse.
But in that case, she contributed literally nothing then, if she just agreed with Eragon for everything.
Yes, that is still the problem that I have with her. But like, it's better. Again, it's better than what Dragon Riders of Pern did, or some other. Like,
I read the first book, and they actually give opinions and actually do things that aren't just agreeing with the main character. Byrne is better than Eragon in that case.
I'm surprised you've read any Pern books.
I read them in high school. I started reading and never finished one, but I did get somewhat into it.
See, my uncle gave me a whole milk crate full of Dragonlance and Dragon Riders books because he had them, but in that box were also Shadowrun books and Warhammer 40k books, and I latched onto those. I was like, I read like 1 or 2 Dragon ones, and then I was like, oh, what's this? Shadowrun books? Oh, like 30 of them, and I read all those, and I was like, yeah, sorry, but when I was a kid, dragons were second fiddle to cybernetics and magic and guns.
Who are you kidding? They still are to you.
Yeah, they still are.
Womp womp. What do you think about Saphira, Bantam?
I like Saphira. I liked her more in the movie. But that's mostly because through no fault of the author, the voice actor gave Saphira a very deep, gruff, masculine tone in the audiobook. And I mean, granted, most people read books. I listen to them because I just do not have the time or patience or mental fortitude to read a book. But the voice actor, the narrator, made Saphira unlikable to me in the book, whereas in the movie, she's very pretty and I liked looking at her. So
it does bring up an interesting concept, which I kind of already know Bantam's opinion on this, but I kind of want Dilitan's opinion. At some point, I read a thread on Reddit, I think it might have been on Wormworks, where people were talking about, like, how do you feel about applying human gender stereotypical, like, traits to dragons? Anything from, like, eyelashes on, like, a cartoon dragon to just the fact that they're usually more slender to their voice. Giving a female dragon a very feminine voice. And then the male's very masculine voices. And it's like, on the one hand, there's no reason, like, my argument when I answered them was on the one hand, there's no reason that a dragon would have these human female characteristics. However, in fiction, it is a very useful shorthand to try to get the point across that this is a female dragon to people that, don't want to dive too much into it. And then here's a good example with the voice. Like, this is the one time that I can think of, an audiobook that I've read personally, where they gave the female dragon a not straight up female voice. It was like, Eragon, you have to get out of here, kind of deal, right? It was very gravelly, very growly, and it just did not sound feminine at all. And there's no reason that it would be feminine. But however, here we have Bantam being like, I didn't like it. It would have been better if it was just a woman's voice. It's like, it's just an interesting thought.
I don't know.
Like, open a portal to Dragonland and the dragons come through, and it just turns out every female dragon just sounds like that. It's like, it's possible. But as far as fiction goes, it doesn't need to be that way, because it's just easier.
It doesn't need to be that way. However, from the reader's perspective, it is confusing for them, especially if they're trying to remember that this dragon's gender is female, and they're hearing, like, fucking Sylvester Stallone talking to them.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
There needs to be... there needs to be at least some identification to help the reader along to figure out, or at least remember what's what.
Mm-hmm.
Voice and body build, 10 out of 10. Eyelashes and lipstick, no. I will never forget what they did to fucking Shrek Dragon. That was the most horrendous thing I've ever seen.
Putting lips on a reptile is the greatest sin.
Yeah, biggest.
Sin. Or very accentuated eyelashes.
If they're overdone, then it's terrible. If they're very minorly done, then I can accept it. Just as like a little hint, like nudge, nudge, it's a female.
They blink so fast it helps them fly. They're so thick.
Yeah, basically. They got them Valley Girl fake eyelashes on. But yeah. But we can all agree that she was adorable in the movie, though, right?
Yes. The seeing the baby dragon segments, the what made the movie watchable for me was seeing the baby dragon segments, honestly, which is
all
why
5 minutes of it.
All 5 minutes of it, which is why it sucks that was, yeah.
It was like, after having read the book, Bantam, she does age very fast, but it wasn't
instant
flight in the air.
I wanted to make sure that, I almost forgot, I wanted to make sure this is on the recording, because it was the funniest shit in the entire world to me. We all watched the movie together. Did all three of us watch it together, or was it just me and Ray?
No, all three of us.
All three of us, okay. Every once in a while, a scene would happen, and Ray would mumble, well, they just skipped 4 chapters. And then later on, he was like, well, there goes another 4 chapters. It was so fucking funny to me. Like, I knew the Saphira bit in the movie where he just tosses the baby dragon, like the baby dragon learns to fly, goes up into the sky, and then comes back down fully grown in like 30 seconds. But that's several months in the book. Like the events in the book seem to take place over the course of like a whole year, whereas in the book I think it's like 3 days.
Oh, that movie moved a mile a minute.
They
tried to cram
super
so
fucking
much
fast.
shit
But,
into like an hour and a half.
But they did it a little bit too hard, because I am one of those people that is like, get on with it. Like there were many times in the book where I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, get
the book
on
definitely
with it.
drags at some points, kind of like how in Lord of the Rings. I tried reading Lord of the Rings back in high school, and I couldn't. It dragged. It was so slow. I didn't care about all this. Like, Tolkien spent way too long like describing the journey. And I'm like, I don't care. Get to Rivendell already. Holy shit. So like there are a couple moments like this where like some points very definitely dragged, but the opposite end of the spectrum, the movie was just like, nope, skipping this, nope, skipping that, nope, we're here now.
They cut so many chunks, like because I hadn't read the book yet when Ray was mentioning that during the movie, and then reading the book and realizing they cut entire characters out, which characters that had significant presence in the book, like the We're Cat, and I forget the guy's name, but the other dude there, the one that was in that city when they were trying to get access to the records for the ship.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The one who was basically the Merchant King guy or whatever.
Yeah.
He was not in the book, and then I was trying to think, like, where was that analogy in the movie? It was when they were in essentially like a swamp town, because he met the fortune teller who read his fortune, and then they get attacked and they run. Like, that's the movie took like 4 or 5 chapters and reduced it down to a maybe 5-minute long scene. And it was like, holy shit. It's like, if I could find a good balance between how slow the book went and how fast the movie went, that'd have been perfect for the movie.
Yep. The thing is, a lot of the, let's call it the dilly-dallying of the book, gets a little worse in some of the sequels, where there will be like entire scenes that don't matter, like the status quo is the same. Nothing changed, no character developed, nothing happened. And I don't have an example on top of my head because it's been ages. I only reread Eragon, I didn't bother rereading the other ones. But it really ends up feeling like Paolini. He was like, I created this world. I spent so much time making my universe, and I'm going to show it to you whether you like it or not. Like, he just really wants to show off the thing he's crafted.
Let's have Dilitan tell us about the game.
Ooh, boy, the game. So, I don't even know where to fucking start with this piece of shit.
Well, while you think of where to start, let me tell you some of my gripes about the book and the movie. Like, I'm gonna kind of just hit both of them, right? So, one of the worst things to me about the movie was not necessarily the pace. It was the actors and actresses they chose for the roles. The only person, two people actually, who I think did a good job was they had what was his name? The guy who played Scar from Lion King.
Jeremy Irons.
They had Jeremy Irons basically play the mentor, the old dragon rider. He did an amazing job. I really think he did. And then whoever played Durza, whoever played the Shade Durza, I think he did a relatively good job of being like a villain, right? But they got John Malkovich to play the big bad, who never really had a role in the movie. He just kind of stood in
Galbatorix.
Galbatorix. It was played by John Malkovich, and John Malkovich is a comedian, and he does a lot of funny movies, and I understand that they put him in that role because look, big name for the poster, and it's like, yeah, but you wasted him. You absolutely wasted him. And even if the movie did relatively well and you continued on, I don't think he would have made a good convincing villain. But everyone else, and especially Eragon himself, was the most painfully ugly, handsome kid I've ever seen in my life. His lips pushed out way too far. He looked way too similar to his half-brother, or not even related brother. So it got really confusing when the two of them were on screen together.
I think they're cousins.
Yeah. But the kid who played Eragon was just so painfully generic that and he was not a good actor. Like, absolutely not a good actor. But then in the books, he was a whiny fucking petulant child, and I hated him. I hated every fucking moment he was talking or doing anything. And it was like because I had seen the movie first, I applied the visuals of the movie character to the writing character, and I was like, wow, you are the worst living thing on this fucking planet.
Phantom going savage over here.
It was awful. I hated him so much.
Can you imagine him even more bland?
How so?
Let me tell you, he's worse in the fucking game.
Oh, I've seen screenshots at least.
No, the actual acting, like, you would expect them to use scenes from the movie, right? No, it is all like shitty PS2, low poly models, like doing baby's first animation for the cutscenes, and the voice acting is even fucking worse than the movie. Like, they've got zero personality. They are mono reading all of their lines.
Yeah, the thing is I think this was before the time when, like, I don't know exactly what year the PS2 game came out, or the Eragon game came out, but
2006.
It was around a time where they would go, hey, I guess that can't be true because so they were just lazy because the Dragonheart the Dragonheart game for PS1 used actual like scenes from the movie as cutscenes, or like just they used FMV in the background for some areas, like it was somewhat decent. Whereas this one, like I guess they had the license, they had the rights, but they just didn't do anything with it. I don't know. The video game was based off the movie, and the movie was a poor imitation of the book. So it's like you have a book that's, in my opinion, a 6 out of 10, and then you base a movie off of that. So now the movie is a 4 out of 10, and then you have a PS2 game based off of that, which is just like, why did you spend money on this?
It's the one time Bantam agrees the book was the best.
I do agree the book was the best.
But the bar is also very low in that regard.
The bar is very, very low. Because the movie was painfully boring.
Oh, the game's even worse. Like, most of the segments are... You remember how fast the combat was in the movie?
Yeah.
It stretches out each one of those encounters for like an hour. Like
That's the way games work too. I mean, I remember
yeah, but
playing.
it's painful. I remember one puzzle. There's a dock with barrels in front of it. It's blocking your path. You got to turn right, and there's like a collection of barrels and boxes and a crane above. So in order to get it, this is when you first learn how to use magic, which is a problem in and of itself. But I'll get to that later. What you do is you use the crane to drop a rock onto the boxes, which then destroys the pier. Then you use your magic to rebuild the pier, then jump over it instead of just pushing them out of the way. Every single puzzle is really contrived, just to stretch it out for as long as possible.
Yeah, I saw
the old Lord of the Rings games now.
One of the videos that I saw, the Let's Plays for the game, he was trapped on a broken bridge with constantly respawning enemies above him, and if they hit you, you get stun locked, and then it's basically over. And I watched the two people playing it. It took them like a half an hour to get through essentially a very small segment, because as soon as an enemy hits you, you're stun locked, and you have multiple people firing arrows at you while melee dudes rush you from to the left and right of the screen. It's like you can't defend against this, and your
Not
AI
only
companion did nothing.
Your AI is useless. There's a I forgot what the mechanic was called, but the more you killed, the more like bonus soul energy, whatever, you collect these little souls from the enemies, and it builds up this like combo tag team meter. But all that does is after you've killed enough enemies, your swords will then glow fiery blue, and I guess you do more damage. But your AI is still just absolutely useless. I was watching, and this guy, he had to switch a crane around and use it to kind of shimmy his way across the river. But his AI friend would jump in front of him on the crane and get him stuck. So he had to try to rush his companion to get on there first. Not only that, the combat's probably the worst I've ever seen in a game. All you do is just press one button to swing your sword, and that's it. Magic's fucking useless because it takes like literally 5 to 10 seconds of wind up time in order to use anything. Like if you can like magically pick up spears and throw them at the guys. You will most likely get hit by an arrow first before you're able to do anything.
I have an article pulled up that I was looking up actor names, but I didn't get to it in time. But I completely forgot. I mean, I know it was something we discussed, but Christopher Paolini is going to be co-writing a Eragon TV show that will be on Disney Plus. There's no word on it yet, but
yeah, I thought they were making the movie, but apparently they're doing it as a TV show instead of a movie.
They should have. But I was reading some of the issues for why this movie failed so bad, and it was because Fox was trying to jump on the 2000s fantasy bandwagon. They had a budget of $100 million, but it was not enough. So they just started axing entire chunks of the book out to save money. And because of Fox's impatience, the franchise was killed.
How do you guys like this book's magic system?
Having to know the names of everything in like an ancient magical language.
Yep.
And then I guess the way the magic works is like, because like in the movie and in the book, like, what's his face? I can't remember his name. That not the actor, but the role. Ironside, Jeremy Irons, whatever. What was his character's name?
Shit, it wasn't Brom. Brom is a character from League of Legends.
Bran?
Or something like that. I don't know. It's something like that.
Whatever. Anyway, when he's teaching him the words, he's like, oh, the word for rock is blah, 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 and the word for twig is blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, I guess the way the magic system works is that, just speaking the name of it in Magic obviously doesn't do anything, or Magic would be doing stuff while he was explaining it. But it's like, I guess whatever's in your mind, like what you want it to do, and then you say the name of the item, and I guess the item will help try to make that happen.
It's a really weird fusion of intent and the word speak. Like Basinger was the word for fire, and so just saying fire meant you had now influence over fire, and it could do what you want. So it's a weird mix of intent. You could have the fire explode, or you could have it like rise up, or just whatever, right? But like to do like the really powerful stuff required you to be very, very specific with what you wanted. Like you, instead of just saying fire, you would have to say like the fire will rise up and consume whatever. Like, if you get more specific with the dialogue that you use in the instant language, it got better. But you could just be as simple as using the word of which you wanted to control. But I think that takes more energy than or something.
Well, like, I know there was one part in the book where he used what I assume is just like a force spell or like magic missile, because he uses it on an entire group of bad guys, and it doesn't kill any of them. It just kind of sends them all flying, and he gets chastised by Saphira for it. And he's like, "Well, what was I supposed to do?" She's like, "You could have just picked up a rock and then like moved it through their heads." And I'm like, oh my god, the magic is actually kind of broken, because using almost no power at all, you could pick up a small stone with magic in your mind, whatever, and just fucking bullet it through someone's head. And because
just like with the Force.
Yeah, because it nearly killed him, I think, in that moment. Like, it knocked him out at least.
Yeah, because what you're trying to do takes an amount of energy off of you. It's supposed to be like equivalent to if you had done it physically, just like all in one instant.
Yeah,
I don't know. He goes back and forth on how much energy it takes in the future. But like if you cast it, and the other thing that as well of the magic is once the spell is cast, it will do what you want it to do. If you don't have enough energy to supply that, let's just say mana. If you run out of mana, the spell will still do its thing, but your mana hits 0 or negative or whatever, and you just die. You just drop dead instantly.
And the funny thing is there were some really, really old video games that I used to play where if your mana was out completely, you died. And I don't remember what games they were, but I was like, why did that happen? But as a kid, I never got it, but I guess that makes sense. It's like your life force.
Yeah, the problem is that he starts like bending that rule in the future. And it's like, on the one hand, yeah, if you practice, you would get better. Like if you always get your mana low on purpose every day, but never like empty, eventually your mana pool starts getting bigger. Like, sure, that makes sense. But then he starts doing this weird thing in some of the future books where you can like infuse gemstones with your power, and so they basically become like mana batteries. And that's actually why the fancy sword that he has in the first book has a bunch of gemstones in like the hilt. It's because it was the sword of a dragon rider. And therefore, it's got gemstones that you can like charge up and whatnot. Yeah. So they keep finding ways to like break the rule a little bit. But it's like, I guess just in concept, because like Skyrim did the same thing, where the magic is based off the ancient language or first language or dragon language or whatever. And it's just like, as a concept, how do you guys feel about that?
Well, all right, hold on. To correct you, the magic was not based on dragon language. Shouts were based on dragon language. Magic was its own thing.
Different school of magic, I guess.
Well, magic is magic. It's just magic. But specifically, the Dragonborn was the only one who could use shouts, which was the dragon language. So
which was dragon magic. Yeah, it was dragon magic.
Yeah, I'm not saying all the magic in Skyrim was dragon language, but the point is Skyrim had a magic system that was just the language.
Okay, carry on.
So it's just like, how do you guys feel about that? Just a magic system that's just based off of a language. If you know the word, you can do the thing.
It makes sense if it's got some solid rules to it, but this one really kind of didn't. You could pull off a lot of, like Random Sage, you can pull a lot of broken shit in this universe with how magic works. But the way Skyrim's dragon magic worked.
Okay, hold on.
Correctly.
I found it. Because my nerd brain was not going to let this go. Shouting and dragon language is not magic. It is not. It is a power. It is not magical in nature whatsoever.
So, you're getting a little facetious. That's not the point.
I mean, it's not facetious if it's...
It's not the point. I don't care what it actually is in Skyrim. I was using it as an example to kind of explain what I meant by a magic system that's just the words. I don't care if Skyrim considers it magic or not.
Okay. You know the way my brain works, it latches onto one thing. Go ahead, Dilitan, sorry.
I'm trying to think of what my ideal magic system would be. I've always been a fan of like mana pools and actually have a magic in yourself and simply training your powers in order to manipulate certain objects. The more training you do, the more you're able to manipulate.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing just a word seems very lazy.
A little bit, yeah. It's like, I'm with you on that. I like the idea of having mana and having to like, I don't know how to put this into words, but like when the magic system is a bit more, you have to like understand how it works and then like put effort into it and whatnot rather than just literally just saying the word out loud, right?
It make it a science.
Was it established? Was it established in the book at all that if you were to teach a word to a random like villager, that they'd be able to use it then?
No, because you actually need to be a dragon rider in order to actually use it.
You don't have to be a rider because there were actually sorcerers and warlocks and whatnot. They briefly touch on like other magic systems, magic sources from different things. So you just teaching the word to a random person wouldn't allow them to use magic right off the bat. It's weird. I'm trying to remember exactly how the book handled it because it almost felt like another half measure thing where he's like, yeah, the language is the magic, but anybody could also just learn it because he made it seem a lot of times that the magic was just I say the word and the thing happens with no effort required. After all, you did have the montage of him going, what's the word for twig? What's the word for water? What's the word for this? Right? And basically just learning spells. But then at other times it's definitely like, no, it takes focus and practice and you gotta like learn how to actually do it because you can't just tell the word to somebody. Like the word was important, the word was mandatory, but the word by itself wasn't supposed to be able to do anything. It did require like a gift and certain levels of practice and stuff. So I think it's just something he kept going back and forth on.
Or maybe like every human being is born with 10 mana points. The base level tiny ass spell would cost 30, and being a dragon rider gives you a base of 50 or something. I don't know.
Definitely something like that also because he could also draw on Saphira's power. That's something that happens in both the book and the movie.
I don't recall him drawing on her power in the movie.
No, it was like implied, I think.
I think, no, it was when, no, because that wouldn't make any sense, because he used it to heal her. Like, I know that Ray got upset during the movie because he attempted to cast a spell that he was definitely not ready for and would have killed him, and the spell started and then fizzled because he's not powerful enough.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I remember Ray going, that's not how that works.
that completely broke, like, the one rule that Paolini had put in at this point. It was like, no, sorry, like, the spell's not allowed to fizzle. It's gonna go through and kill you. You stupid kid. But I guess he doesn't draw on her power in the movie, but it happens a lot in the book. It was like, I need to do this thing, but I'm not strong enough. She's like, that's fine. I'll help you. And then it's like, the link mana pulls or something. But yeah, I like when the language is important to the magic system. Like, a lot of times in fantasy books, you'll need to have, like, an incantation. Like, Harry Potter is a really weak example, but, you know, you have to say the word to cast a spell. It's like the language is important to the magic system, even if it's just Latin. To the point where I think in the Harry Potter game, there's a kid who's like, I'm trying to make this spell, but I don't know which Latin word to use. Should I use this one or that one kind of deal, right? So, like, whatever. It's really wonky, but, like, as someone who has barely played Skyrim, I really like the dragon shots because I just think that's really cool that you have to say the thing in dragon speak that you want to do. But it definitely needs a bit more to it than just that. Others, it feels really gimmicky and overpowered.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of if you learn the true name of this thing, you have complete control over it. To the point where, like, in the Eragon magic system, if I were to learn Bantam's true name, basically, like the... I can't think of an example, but like if I learned his true name, I could control him because I could then say like the sentence in the ancient language, Bantam will come out and play board games with me for 3 hours.
God.
And then he just does it. He's got no choice. He is basically mind controlled into doing that. It's like, I hate that concept. I hate mind control and everything. That's just...
They also established in the book that elves are the only ones who know their true name, and
they know it inherently,
others,
but
they know others' true names. So it's like people just leave the elves alone because I guess that implies that the elves can just fuck you up. That I don't know.
Oh no, but the elves won't ever weaponize that against you because they know it's morally wrong. It's like, ugh, come on. It's dumb.
Yeah, mind control is stupid.
And the thing is, like, I guess I'm just gonna start just jumping in between different books now because in the end of book 2, Eragon has to fight Murtagh. Because Murtagh is being mind-controlled by Galbatorix. Galbatorix, the Emperor, knows Murtagh's true name and has mind control over him. So now Murtagh's got to do evil things, but it's against his will.
Who's Murtagh?
Murtagh is the other boy that they found that didn't want to go to the rebellion because they're like, they're going to kill me if they find out who I am.
Oh, the guy, the emo kid from the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, he had such a small role. I vaguely remember him.
Well, he becomes a big deal in the future, but he's such a small role in the first bit there, yeah. Don't worry, it gets worse.
No, I'm sure it does.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. If I just jump into book 4 right now, it's like, I don't know if I want to jump that far ahead. Fuck it, I'm gonna jump that far ahead. Sorry, spoilers to everybody listening. Okay, so Murtagh is mind controlled by the Emperor, right? And in book 4, they're having the big final showdown, and it's like, this is terrible because now the Emperor has learned the true name of the language. So he's like, what? In Skyrim it's called Dova, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
well, Dova is dragonkind. Dovahkiin is Dova is dragon. Dovahkiin is dragonkind.
What do they have? It doesn't matter. The word for the language itself. Okay. Dove, right. So it'd be like in Skyrim, if you learned the word Dove, then that you could then control the language and control everybody who uses the language. Like the second you learn that the true name of the language, you control everyone who speaks the language. Therefore, all the spellcasters you control.
Yeah, that's stupid as fuck.
It's stupid as shit. All right, but so everyone's kind of like enthralled. The Emperor's making Murtagh and Eragon fight for his amusement, and then Murtagh breaks free of the Emperor's control. He's no longer magically mind controlled by the Emperor, and he does so by changing his true name. And I'm like, that's stupid.
What?
He changed his true name. Time? He changed his true name so that he could break free of the Emperor. Now, granted, like apparently you can only change your true name if you like fall in love with something, and he fell in love with one of the female characters that are in the later books.
The fuck?
Because by falling in love with someone, you've changed the essence of yourself, and therefore your true name has changed. It was something so completely stupid like that. It's like, if you're gonna go down the route of this is your true name in the language and whatever, stick with it. You can't change a true name. It's like, ugh.
That's pulling out of your ass in order to save yourself.
But
yeah, that's writing yourself into a corner.
Into a corner with an overpowered magic system in a way that's like, well, shit. But the rules that I wrote means that this is gonna go this way, and I can't have that, so throw a fucking wrench into it. But yeah, it's also points for Eragon. It's just Star Wars because, granted, Murtagh is not Eragon's father, but it's just the Darth Vader fighting Luke Skywalker, and then Darth Vader turns on the Emperor. So, haha, take that, Dilitan.
Listen, there's a lot more contrivances with that fight than just changing your goddamn name and finding.
Listen, Ray and I spent, I think it was like 2-3 hours at work one night just discussing all the parallels to Star Wars. It was a lot.
But yeah, a parallel to Lord of the Rings that he does is in book 3 or 4, I can't remember. Eragon's got to go and find the spirit army that Aragorn finds in Lord of the Rings, basically.
I remembered one of the other big parallels, at least in the movie, when he goes to rescue the princess. He goes to the big bad's, base of operations, his Death Star. He goes to the castle to break out the princess.
Mm-hmm. They had to save Princess Leia, Dilitan.
Yeah, but did they disguise themselves as stormtroopers to do it?
I don't think they had to. I think they just teleported in.
They just walk in there. Well, there's no stormtroopers to disguise themselves as.
Yeah. Listen, it doesn't have a Death Star. It doesn't have an allegory to Vietnam, so it does not count.
Terran, if they actually had used that line in the book, I probably would have forgiven it. If at some point the princess says, "Aren't you a bit short for a dragon rider?"
Yeah, I think that actually would have been funnier because it made me laugh and be like, they're referencing the thing.
He's self-aware. He's not trying to hide that he's copying Star Wars.
Yeah, well, at that point, it becomes an homage or an Easter egg or an in-joke. Whereas if you don't make a joke about it, then you're just stealing.
Let's talk a bit about the dragon riding system, since we talked about the magic system. May not be a whole lot to talk about, but like the fact that Eragon and Saphira get bound together, to where if Eragon dies, Saphira's gonna die. That level of binding, like Dragonheart levels of binding together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but even worse.
Because it's one-sided.
It's really one-sided.
Because the dragon can die and the rider just gets very sad, right? But if the rider dies, then the dragon's fucked.
Yeah, the dragon is just a tool at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was bad when Dragonheart did it, except at least in Dragonheart, if the
Dragonheart died. It was both ways. In the first movie, Draco was doing that as like a favor, hoping to try to get do a good deed in order to get himself into dragon heaven. And then like the third,
it was two reasons. He did it. You're right, but he also did it because he thought the goodness in his heart would overpower the sliver of darkness in the dude's heart, the other guy,
Prince's heart.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, but then in like the third movie, he's just like, oh, dragons were destined to merge with humans. I'm like, no, none of that. And then it just got worse from there. And then here comes Eragon. I was like, hey, dragons are. I don't even know how to fucking explain it, but no, they are just essentially tools.
It's the Rick and Morty thing with the little robot, and it's like Eragon goes, Saphira, what is your purpose? Or no, it's Saphira's like, what is my purpose? He goes, you extend my lifespan and die if, and die.
You're
if
completely
I die.
expendable and extend my lifespan.
Oh my god.
See, I kind of enjoy it when it's the other way around, because like they didn't full out like bond with each other, but in the Age of Fire books, they created a dragon riding system because after Regard helps fight off the humans and kills the dragon slayer and whatnot, he's like, you know what, dragons that have humans on their back are stronger, so we should use this as our military force. However, we're gonna make the oath that they have to take to join the ranks very one-sided, to like, if the dragon dies, the human's put to death, like executed. But if the human dies, then we'll just give him an honorable burial and get a new human. It's like, that's fine.
I agree.
That's
the dragon,
fine because first off, we just prefer dragons, so that's kind of unfair. But also, if
humans are always expendable.
The sheer amount of population of humans to dragons, like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, humans are expendable, and maybe you can make an argument for the main characters of a book or whatever, but I mean, for every one dragon, there's like 1,000 humans, so that it should go that way.
But how do you feel about the fact that Saphira can't talk? Her dialogue is all telepathic.
I'd be fine with it if it wasn't just through Eragon.
How about you, Benton?
I'm okay with it. I mean, I kind of like it because that way, you can have secret conversations with your dragon about somebody that you're standing right in front of. Like, I like that idea.
I'm actually.
It does feel very restricted to the dragon itself, though. Again, just making her nothing but like.
Yeah, I prefer when the dragons can actually talk
and interact with everybody around them.
Yeah, if they're supposed to be sapient and like intelligent and whatnot, then like why can't they just speak?
Because their mouths and throats are not made for it. They're made for biting and tearing, not for talking.
So just give them one heck of an accent.
Like Sean Connery.
No, not Sean Connery. Ew. No.
Yay.
Ew.
No, Sean Connery is a terrible voice actor.
Oh, okay then.
Well, he can't do voices. He can only do himself.
Himself's pretty good.
No.
I'm kind of biased for this, but still, it's a decent
You are
voice.
incredibly biased for this.
You are incredibly biased, and you haven't seen a majority of movies with Sean Connery in it.
He can literally only play himself.
It's literally, I am Sean Connery. Oh, sorry, I meant Draco. Like, if they had left that in the movie, it would have been great.
I'm trying to remember, because Tristan makes up a good point that he thinks in the book that Saphira can talk to Brahm. And I'm like, that actually were a couple of times where it's like Saphira's like doesn't come to help Eragon when he's like being cornered by Brahm to like be questioned or whatever. And it's like because Brahm. The thing is, I don't know for sure if she talked back to Brahm. I think Brahm just talks to her. Just said, hey, I'm gonna go and talk to Eragon. Can you just go flying for a bit to like be out of the way? I don't think Saphira ever spoke to Brahm herself.
There's another part later on in the book where Saphira refuses to do what Eragon says until he makes up with Brahm. And, it's still not really said in black and white whether or not they speak.
Yeah, I think they can only talk through their writer. But I'm trying to remember how it works when the other dragon comes out in Eldest. Because plot twist, Saphira's not the only one. There's another dragon and rider hiding out somewhere, and they're basically the Yoda arc. Because Eragon has to go and train with him, and halfway through the training he has to leave because his friends are in danger. It's the Yoda arc. But I'm trying to remember how the dialogue works there, if the dragon was able to talk, like to project his thoughts or not. But like I said, it's been like 20 years since I've read Eldest. Tristan says the books say the dragons can talk to people, so it's the dragon's choice if they want to. And it's like, fine, I'll take his word for it. I can't remember.
Can't remember that part, yeah.
Yeah.
I only saw the movie, so I don't believe you.
Yeah. I just like it better when dragons can verbally talk, because there's no reason why they can't.
Yeah, speech isn't really based on biology, more so intelligence. Because if you had it doesn't matter how your mouth is shaped. you can still attempt to speak some kind of language. It might just be a series of growls.
I mean, freaking
That's
birds
still a
can talk in
language.
real world. In real life,
Exactly.
birds can talk.
Crows have their own language. Dolphins have their own language. I mean, it may not actually be English, but you'd still be able to hear them speak. That actually would have been a good a plot point or what I don't know what you call it. But like, let's say Eragon's still trying to figure out all his dragon riding business, and Saphira starts talking to him, but what's his face is the only one that can actually understand him, and he slowly starts to look.
Magically, I can understand dragon speak.
Well, no, he's a seasoned dragon rider, so he learned the language. Eragon still learned to be a dragon rider, so he still learned to understand Saphira. That would have been a cool plot point.
Yeah, it would have. So I'm just trying to remember what else. The other points I want to bring up. I wonder if there's any good dragon rider books out there. I mean, there is. It's called His Majesty's Dragons. It's the Temur series, but like I guess fantasy dragon riders where the dragon is his own individual, and like is arguably more important to the story than the human, or at the very least like the same, because they're a partnership and not just a conveyance.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If anybody knows one, let me know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I will say that after watching the movie and then reading the book, I'm kind of disappointed the movie wasn't going to get a continuation, because I really was interested in seeing the finality of the series, but like I was interested enough in the overarching story, but not interested enough to want to read books. The thought of having to read 3 more actual fucking books was not enough for me to, but the little curiosity was still there. Because, and on top of that, there are parts of the movie that I think I would have preferred to see it play out in the movie than on the book, because I know that they departed from the book so fucking severely. But as much as I don't think he made a good Galbatorix, seeing John Malkovich, actually get to interact with someone other than Durza would have been kind of neat. Or see him on the throne taunting the hero. Like, I would have loved to see that. And it's never going to happen. It's like,
Maybe it'll happen with the TV series that Disney makes.
Like, we were, at one point during, at work, we were mentioning that. It's like, if the TV series, when the TV series starts, get Jeremy Irons back. He did a fucking amazing job. Just like in the old D&D movie that was obviously really, really bad. Like, Jeremy Irons was in that movie too. And he fucking killed it. Like, he loved being in that movie. He was hamming it up. He loved being in that movie. And it's like, he did a really good job as Braum in Eragon. And it's like, bring him back. And you know what? If you really want the big name, bring John Malkovich back, but everybody else can be replaced. Like, there are some characters that are just good.
Everybody else will have to because they're 20 years older.
Yeah, there you go.
But are we pretty much done talking about it?
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything else to bring up, to be honest.
Most of what I would say would just be like me nitpicking on some stupid decisions he made in like book 3 and 4. But like, I don't really feel like doing that anymore.
Oh, one more thing I want to bring up about the game. There is no free dragon flying. You're on a rail. It is the dumbest rail shooter I've ever seen.
It's a rail shooter.
You can switch. You fly around in a circle and can like switch lanes in the map, but that's it.
Also, every level has hidden dragon eggs you have to find for collectibles.
But she's supposed to be the last dragon. She can't. Can't be hidden dragon eggs.
There's hidden dragon eggs.
Screw your lore.
Yeah, the amount of like changing his mind he does on that's like, she's the last dragon, except for like the 2 or 3 others that Galbatorix has. She was like 1 of 4 eggs, and they just managed to steal hers from the Emperor.
I mean, but then Dragonheart did the same thing.
Yeah, but the problem is Paolini kept changing his mind, because then later on in the second book they find the other dragon rider and his dragon that are hiding out. It's like, oh wait, no, there's these 2. Okay, at least until they pull an Obi-Wan and they die in like some fight somewhere. But then later on in book 3, I think it's 3, it's either 3 or 4, they find a hidden cache of dragon eggs. So now there's hundreds of dragon eggs ready to be hatched for when they need them.
Yeah, so I just wanted to address what Terrence said, saying maybe she's the last fertilized egg. All dragon eggs are apparently immediately viable. The issue is that the reason why Galbatorix kept dragon eggs is because the dragons refuse to hatch until they find someone worthy, someone that they choose. So when the right person comes by, then the dragon will hatch. And so he knew that the dragons would hatch for the right person. He was just waiting for the right person to keep coming. That was like that was the other thing. Throughout the entire book, one of the main motivations that was a big problem between the book and the movie is in the movie Galbatorix was just evil. Kill them, or bring them to me and I kill them. But in the book, it's like Galbatorix didn't want to go all out because he was hoping to turn Eragon to his side. Because, hey, there's a Dragon Rider. I want Dragon Riders to rebuild my army.
Join me, Luke. Together we can rule the galaxy.
Basically, yeah. And so it's like he didn't want Eragon killed or hurt. He wanted him brought to him.
Mm-hmm.
And but theoretically, he has a couple eggs here that every once in a while maybe he'll kidnap a whole bunch of people and walk them up to the egg and see if the eggs hatch, and if not, then get the fuck out of my castle or kill them.
Which is, again, just another strike against like how they handle dragons. That's just, you are nothing but a bonus to be attached to a human or whatever. It's like the fact that they will not hatch until they find the human that they want to be with. It's like, no, that's dumb. Let them hatch and grow up, and if they find a human, then cool. If they don't, then awesome. Oh, another thing I just remembered, in Eragon, the book, for like the first half of it, they're always telling Eragon that whatever he wants to do, he can do it. Like, whether it's he wants to join the rebellion, or join Galbatorix, or just go fuck off and do whatever he wants on his own, that's fine. They just want to teach him knowledge for knowledge's sake or whatever, right? They kind of bring that up. Like, whatever you want to do, it's your choice. You can do whatever you want. But then, I don't know, at some point, they completely switch gears. It's like, no, you must join the rebellion now. Like, you have to help us fight Galbatorix. It's like, they took the choice away from him.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly when or how it happened, but I just remember the tonal shift, and I was like, hey, that's not fair. What if I wanted to join the evil dude? What if I want to read a fantasy story where the hero actually joins the villains? Like, join me and we can rule together, and he's like, okay.
Imagine a novel where it's two best friends who, adventure together, and then the bad guy shows up and offers them, like, you two, come with me and we'll rule the world. And one of them's like, never! And the other one's like, all right.
Sounds cool.
And and then you split the book, and that would be fucking awesome.
You and your corruption arcs, Ray.
I love corruption arcs. Oh, I love Anakin's
But if you corrupt everybody, there isn't anybody left. You gotta leave some people uncorrupted.
Oh, so far no one's getting corrupted, so I'm allowed.
He didn't imply that everyone was getting corrupted. He just likes it when one person is like twisted to the dark side.
Just the hero of legend, no big deal.
It's like, damn, he's fated to destroy me, but if he's on my side, fuck this planet. I don't know. I also like, as Ray knows in our D&D thing, I also like betraying the party, so...
Yeah,
you do.
You're grounded. I guess on the topic of terrible decisions that Paolini made in the future books, do you want to hear how they stop Galbatorix?
Yes, I do.
Eragon casts a spell that forces Galbatorix to feel the emotional impact of the terrible things he's done.
Right. You actually did tell me that.
That is like,
that's so fucking dumb.
That's some My Little Pony friendship is magic bullshit.
It's so bad. Can we not just kill the evil emperor in an epic fantasy story? Is that not allowed anymore?
The Ghost Rider movie, where his ultimate attack is to force an opponent to feel the weight of their sins, and it burns your soul in the process, but the bad guy doesn't have any souls. But the bad guy's ultimate goal is to steal millions of souls from this one location. So, he lets him steal all the souls, and then is like, now feel the weight of all those souls. And the bad guy's like, ah! And it's like, oh, God. What a stupid way to... Yeah, I much prefer the bad guy get fucking eviscerated through violence.
He should get tossed down an elevator shaft by his number one henchman, or whatever the fuck that hole in the floor was.
Elevator shaft. You've lost a lot of respect from me. It's a fucking...
Well, what the heck is it?
It's a vent shaft to the main reactor.
Okay, still, point me, just toss him down that.
That whole giant thing was an elevator?
No!
I'm corrupting Bantam now. Yes, Bantam was an elevator.
I hate you. I hate you all.
All right. Anyway.
At any rate, so back to original when Ray asked if we would suggest this as a starting point for reading Intelligent Dragon type books or Dragon Rider books in general. I say no. Ray said yes, I think.
Just the first book. The book 2, 3, and 4, nah. But book 1.
But the problem is that if you end up liking the story, then you're gonna have to keep going. Not everybody's gonna have somebody like you to just tell me what happens. I'm not gonna read them.
That's up to them.
Yeah,
if they want to keep going, then they can keep going. But like,
the old Forgotten Realms books were good. I suggest those.
Forgotten Realms, you mean like the Drid Still Waiting stuff?
It was published under Forgotten Realms, the Dragon Riders and stuff like that. Not the Dragon Riders of Pern, but Dragonlance, that's what it was.
Dragonlance is not Forgotten Realms.
Isn't?
No. Forgotten Realms is Faerun. That's where Baldur's Gate takes place.
Oh. Well, whatever.
Alright.
Whatever.
Anyway, thank you for joining us, everybody. For our 50th episode, Asterisk, where we cover Eragon. It's not a new thing, but we're doing old things. Maybe for episode 100, we'll do Wings of Fire. Or something. I don't know. But, hopefully by then...
Thank God I'm going to be gone for that.
No, you'll be back before then.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, most of it was just us complaining because it did a lot of things wrong. It's an old book. The genre has matured. I still say it's enjoyable, but it's definitely had some oofs in there. But yeah, if you disagree with me and you think Eragon's the best thing ever and eldest and inheritance and all that, it's like, you want to fight me? Bantam, tell me where they can fight me.
All right, they can fight you at Twitter at @officialwadpod. Our email, we're probably going to close the Twitter. Let's see if we can get into Blue Sky, because obviously Twitter is a steaming hellhole now. The best way to get in touch with us is the email, which is wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. We do have a Patreon at patreon.com/worldofdragonspodcast, and our Discord, which is the best way to get in touch with us, is going to be linked in the show notes.
Because
even though I'm not going to be...
Because Discord links.
Even though I'm not going to be recording episodes, I will still be hanging out here during my free time. I'm the most active out of the three of us in the Discord. They'll usually stream games and just chill out.
Dilitan's being promoted to community manager.
Yay!
We also did get one email. It's like the first email we've gotten in.
Dilitan, I promote you to customer.
So we did get an email, and I was shocked because I do check my email every day. There was someone who said that there's a few books he read that his name is Jasper. He said I could use his name Jasper. But he says there's a few books he read that we might like. He'd be happy to hear our opinion on them. So if any of these sound familiar to you and it's something that you as a listener really like and you want us to, bump up the priority list, there's Axtara Banking and Finance, The Conjuring of Zoth Avarex, the self-proclaimed greatest dragon in the multiverse. Sounds like Ray. Heart Scale by Lola Ford, Ash and Ambition, it's a shifter book, he says, Dark Lord of Durkolm, which is a Griffin's type book, and The Cloud Roads, which is a shifter's book. He says that he enjoyed them all, some more and some less. He'd like us to review Axtara the most because it's quite sweet with dragon/human interactions and a cool play on the Horde trope. So I asked if it was okay if I name him in the email, and he says, yeah, just use the name Jasper. Ray is the greatest dragon in the universe.
I am
whoever
the greatest
this,
dragon in the multiverse.
Whoever this Zoth Avarex is... Well, he's in the multiverse, Dilitan. You're the best one in this universe.
Yeah, fuck you, Ray. This is my universe. Get out.
Invade!
No, he doesn't have to leave.
Invasion.
So yeah, thank you very much for your email, Jasper.
And thank you, Dilitan, for putting up with us as long as you did.
We knew we would eventually wear you down. We thought you would
last this many long. Words. So many
Hopefully you can rejoin us in the future.
Hopefully. That's still undetermined as we're trying to work out the schedule for the personal shit going on. Maybe I'll have something probably after Bantam visits. As far as like if I can come back or not. I might be able to join you guys for smaller episodes. It's just finding the time for the books themselves is difficult.
I understand that. You can be a little media dragon.
Yeah, if you guys are doing like quick shows or games, I can like something I can do like maybe in one day. That'd be fine. But multi-day books while trying to watch over my grandmother, that's going to be difficult.
We didn't actually discuss what we're going to be doing next time, Bantam. We don't know what we're doing next time.
Well, why don't we just do the Averex one?
The what? The dragon banking?
Yeah.
That's not an audiobook, though.
Ugh.
Yeah, you see?
All right. We'll do that one after the next one, then.
You and I will discuss what we're doing later, and I'll just...
No, we can...
I'll just clip it onto the end of this, because we gotta go.
We gotta go?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Go. All right. Yeah, we'll just clip it on.
So we'll figure out what we're doing, and then I'll just post it on here, be like, hey, next time, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, thanks for coming, everyone, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.